I'll talk a little bit about what we do just for a moment. I'm going to keep this quite short, sweet, but instead of talking too many slides, I thought we'd have a bit of fun and I'd show you what I think the future of technology is going to immediately start doing. And when I say the future, I'm thinking tomorrow, next month, next year, not 5 years' time. Quick bit of background. So I founded Mercury. I was running a recruitment business, IT recruitment business. Decided I want to change the software we use. Couldn't find anything. Too many Guinness on a Friday afternoon with the CTO of the business I was working for. We built something on Microsoft Dynamics. It was crap. But I thought, if you can do that in a couple of hours, what could we do in a couple of years? So we built it. In terms of what Mercury is and where it sits, so we're a Microsoft partner, yada, yada, yada. Further to what Donna said, it's not about tech stacks or Frankenstacks or debt stacks, as we call them. It's about connected applications built from a platform. Vincere built their own platform. We've used the Microsoft platform, but it's that platform play. Once you've got all your data in one place, you can learn from it. AI can work on it. You can automate from it. You can analyze it. But if it's in silos all over the place, what's the point? Lots of vendors, lots of silos, waste of time, really. So your typical model might have looked something similar to this. A Mercury model's somewhat simplified. So we use Microsoft 365, which probably everyone in the room has got. So that's your Office 365 stack. Microsoft years ago came up with this concept of something called the Common Data Service, and then Salesforce stole the name, and not going to get into that argument. They now call it Dataverse. Everything you're doing in Microsoft goes to a data lake called the Dataverse. All your emails, your teams, everything sits in this one place. And that's the same stack that we sit on. So we sit on that firm base. So Mercury is an application, you'd class us as a CRM. We do client, candidate, vacancy management, timesheets, placements, expenses, client portals, candidate portals, analytics, automation, all of that good stuff. The reason we make it a little bit different is we take what Microsoft give us. So they give us Microsoft Teams for native integration, chat, collaboration. We take Microsoft 365, so all of your email, OneNote, customer voice analytics surveys, all of those things that you probably don't realize you've got, that you pay for, that you can make use of. Bookings, instead of paying for Calendly, Microsoft give it out of the box. No one knows it's there. LinkedIn, we integrate with LinkedIn Recruiter, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, LinkedIn Lead Gen Forms. So we leverage the investment in Microsoft and LinkedIn, and we bring it to life in one place. So that's Dataverse. And then what Microsoft give us after that, which means that I don't have to hire too many people to go and develop it, is they give us this thing called the Power Platform. You might note, and some people in the room might be aware of these things, but I'll just talk them through. Power Automate for me is the best thing in this stack. Power Automate is Gartner's leading RPA, robotic process automation tool, an AI tool. Power Virtual Agents is a chatbot, comes as part of the stack. Power Apps is Gartner's leading low-code application development platform. That's what Mercury's built on. Power Pages is now websites based on the same platform. Power BI is amazing. I'm sure some of the room have already got it. All of the information that's in your environment or any other application. And Power BI and Power Automate can connect to something like 850 different applications. You're bringing everything into one place. So your management report, your board report might be based off your Mercury data, your finance system, your Force 24 data, whatever it might be, pull it all into one place and you can measure against it. So where do I think the future of recruitment is? Well, it's not CRMs, that's for a start. I mean, we're the foundation, we are the rock, we are the bed. We're not the future, but we're the absolute essential that you need to have. You shouldn't be limited by size, data, or anything else, scale. Everything needs to be in there. And we'll start talking about ChatGPT, I'm sure, again in a moment. Where do I think the future lies? The future lies in not having to hit higher revenue numbers, higher profit numbers, because you hire more headcount. That's a bit odd. You need to be able to make people more effective and more efficient. If you only make people more efficient, which is what many people talk about with automation, you make them better at golf. You need to make more of the time that you give when you make them more efficient to make them more effective. And how do you do that? You create more automatically for them. You tell them what to do next. You give intent and you tell them where to go. So that's just some of the stuff I was going to have a bit of a play and I was going to show you. So this is either going to go really well or really badly, but we'll give it a go anyway. So here I've got a Mercury environment. I'm going to land on a record called the Disney Group. And this is just some like proof of concept type stuff. So Disney Group, they're a client. We've got some activity when the Wi-Fi catches up. I'm out of the office today. I've come to 8 Club. I've met with someone at Disney Group. I've had a conversation with them. I'm going to walk back to the office. I'm going to have a conversation with the system. I'm going to tell it what happened during the meeting, and I'm going to see what the system can do for me. So I'm going to say, I've just met with Kendrick from Disney Group. He's recruiting for a project manager on a permanent basis. It's located in London. The salary is about 60K. I'm going to follow up with some candidates on the 25th, and then we're going to have a Microsoft Teams meeting on the 29th. Save the message. That's going to take about 40 seconds to run. But what that will do now is that will push it through artificial intelligence, and it will look at the conversation that I've had. And it'll understand the intent. It'll do sentiment analysis if I want it to as well. And it will pick out key things. And so what's the thing I'm trying to do? I'm trying to make that person more efficient. They've got to walk back to the office. They could walk into lampposts on the way back, putting this detail in their mobile app. That's absolutely fine. We can do that. But actually, we want to pick up all of that information. We want to run with it. So I'll probably need to give it about another 5 or 10 seconds. But then what you should start to see in a moment, and we'll get an in-app notification, is it will start to create this information for us. So your phone call's been analysed and created. What it's going to do is it's going to create what we call leads info leads. It's going to create a lead record within the system. The lead record that it creates for us should be, fingers crossed, for a project manager in London at 60K. This might still be running. It's going to create the log of the phone call or the meeting that I've just had with a client. It's going to create a follow-up email for me. And in the follow-up email, it's going to go and get 3 of the most recently contacted project managers that we got that might be suitable and automatically attach them as CVs, as example profiles that we could send. And it's going to create a follow-up Teams meeting, hopefully, on the 29th, for me to have a conversation with them. And this is where it's either going to go particularly well or particularly badly. That might still be running. I'll go on to the next use case and I'll come back to this one. Your next scenario is you've pulled that job. You've been able to take it through. Too many windows. How many windows do you want? It's on this one, right. So the next one we've got is we've got a job here. We just put it onto the system. Now that might be something like I've just converted over, but one of the biggest challenges with new recruits, and so the other problem we're trying to solve, apart from like just keep adding billers to increase your revenue and increase your profit, is make them more effective a lot more earlier. So how can you get those new recruits that don't really understand what a Dynamics developer is yet? How do you make them productive far quicker? So we've got here a job here for a Dynamics developer. When we go to post this out via Broadbean, Logic Melon, whatever, we want it to give us an advert. I'll just delete this if there's already one there. Within here as well, I've added some more information. Let's get rid of all this. So I want to be able to tell people how to search for it. I want to tell people what this job is. I want to tell them what they should discuss with the candidate when they get through to them. And I want to generate that all through artificial intelligence. So as soon as we save this record, we just triggered it on an automation with Power Automate based on advertise this on the website. So as soon as I click that, it makes a call out. And this is ChatGPT, but obviously Microsoft have got a fairly significant investment in OpenAI, so we're starting to leverage some of it. So this will go out using the information we've got. We know it's a Dynamics developer. We've coded the roll-up. We know that we're looking for someone with JavaScript, Microsoft Dynamics, Agile, and C#. Again, this will probably take about 30 seconds to run. But in 30 seconds' time, what it will come back and it will give us information, what the recruiter can say to the person. So probably wait about another 5-10 seconds. So what we're trying to do here is give them that education immediately. This is what a Dynamics developer does. They're responsible for design and implementing solutions on the Dynamics platform. They work with stakeholders, etc. I should get one in skills explained here as well. These are example questions that someone can ask, and we've specifically said give us technical questions. Technical questions based on the skill set that you've got that you can ask suitable candidates to understand whether they're suitable for the role. Let me just refresh that because it should also give me these skills explained as well. So, explains what Dynamics 365 is, explains to the recruiter what C# is, explains what JavaScript is, explaining what Agile Scrum is. It also builds a search query for us based on the information that we've got from the role. So you might expect the next step here is just to fire that search query straight into the search engine, pull out the top 50 matches, send it via an SMS, an email or whatever, a chat, and initiate a chatbot conversation where the chatbot will say, are you open to work? If not, great, update us, tell us your information. If yes, answer a series of questions, update your details, automatically book a call with a consultant to go to sell. We're not trying to replace the recruiter here, we're just trying to automate as much as we possibly can. So how can we then get the most valuable conversation in place with the recruiter at the earliest possible time? If you were using something like a Power Virtual Agent, you can now integrate that with ChatGPT, so you can actually have some form of conversational AI if you wanted it. You've gone out, you've had a few candidates respond, some have come back and expressed an interest, you've run some searches, you've found some suitable candidates. As a resourcer maybe within the business, or depending on how I'm working as a 360 consultant, I want to add someone to this job. This is the guy I'm going to add to this job, Steve Thomas. Steve Thomas is a Dynamics developer. So he's a multidisciplined CRM and data professional. He's got C#, SQL Server. He's got Azure skills. He's done a variety of projects at big businesses like Tesco, Walmart, eMay, and so forth. Automatically, as soon as we express an interest in him in that role, and I'll just trigger this just by putting some text in here, just for the proof of concept, say I want a bio. Duplicate detection. This takes about 11 seconds. What it will do is it will consume Steve's latest CV, and it will give me a 2-paragraph, 200-word sell-in of why Steve's a particularly strong candidate for this role. We can do that through an automation, yeah. So we can pick up a template, we can take out that information, and we can put it in there. So Steve Thomas gives us a bio based on the candidate. That's not wording from his CV. That's ChatGPT looking at the CV, consuming it, and writing a 200-word intro.
So if I want to send that profile to 300 people who are the most likely customers who would like someone like that anonymized. Yeah. So you just built us a virtual vulture team.
Well, that's entirely what it's designed to be, isn't it? You want to automate as much of that. No, you want to get the call back into the business so we can tell the story, we can empathise, and we can sell them the next 5 people they didn't need. So let's go back and see if that other one ran as well. Where were we? Disney Group. I've also got another one that Donna gave me the idea for that I thought I'd show you as well.
You're welcome.
Well, it's just that one hasn't run for whatever reason. Okay, the next one, this is just the one I was just sitting at the back of the room thinking this could either go really well or really badly as well. So I was going to hand some on my phone there, but I was looking at Gary and I was thinking that's probably the worst person in the room I could give it to. So so I'm just going to put a call in here. So call coming in via Teams. Says who the call's coming from, answer the record. So this is integrated Teams telephony with AI and sentiment analysis. So the call will start, which is going to be a bit weird because I'm having a conversation with myself, but hi, is that Chris? Yeah, this is Chris. I'm looking to change my CRM software. Amazing, what are you using at the moment? We're using Salesforce. It's great, but I want to change it. There's some great features. What do you love about it? I love the fact that it's available. What do you hate about it? That it's not Dynamics. All fun. What that's been doing in the background is a live transcript whilst you're having the conversation, which you're going to get a bit of echo here because I'm having a conversation with myself, so please forgive anything it may have missed. We don't need to tell it what the quality's like. What that'll do is it will go through whatever my seller is having the conversation, as you can see. It's highlighting certain things, CRM, Salesforce, these could be competes, these could be competitor mentions, these could be trackers. We could be talking budget, how many contractors have you got, what are you looking for next, what's hiring, what are your problems. You can then start to see a full summary. So what's the sentiment analysis of this phone call? Clearly at the end, that's when I'm slagging off Salesforce, which I apologise to Target Recruit for. I just thought it'd be funny. You can see the positive sentiment as we're going through. You can start to configure the tracker mentions. What do you want to listen to? What do you want to listen to? Budget. I want to listen to extension. I want to listen to hold, credit prof, whatever it might be. I want to listen to my competitors. What it then starts to do is starts to analyse kind of everything that's happening in conversational intelligence. What are customers talking about? While your people are working remote, whilst your people are working remote, you don't know what they're saying. So call transcription and everything can tell you that. But then you start to get analysis over all of your sellers and what's being said. Your best sellers, how often do they talk? How much do they listen? What's the switches? What's the interactions in those phone calls? Why is it that this person always picks up jobs and this person doesn't? And I might have an inclination to it, but now I can see the sentiment analysis and I can understand the speed of a conversation, the interactions between a pitch. So then when you're looking for across the view, you want a team overview, satisfaction, sentiment, what's being discussed. If I want to understand what's being said, I can go and pick someone within the business. I'll choose myself. It'll start to give me those positive, negative interactions. I can play back and the calls if I want to listen to what someone said. So what Microsoft are now starting to do is they're starting to do the suggested mentions, and this is what came up earlier. So customers just said this, I'm really happy with this current provider, but I am thinking of changing. And it can start to prompt and go, say this next, do this next. So it's the AI with the machine learning that starts to understand what's been said and then prompts them what to say next. So again, where's the value in that? That's about getting green graduate recruiters in potentially and giving them the supercharged experience of your best big billers and the machine learning of the conversations to say, this is the next way that you should go, this is what you should be saying next. Absolutely everything that happens then, of course, you'll bring it back into the system. I probably haven't got a window open for this, but this is where you feed it into Power BI. Now, if you're not using Power BI, use it, because it's amazing. Mercury's obviously got Mercury Analytics, so we've got an analytics suite that's powered by it, so you can start to go through, you can look at your financial overview, your week-on-week analysis, your key activities, all of these various things that you're doing, etc. But Power BI, you can start to feed your data in, even if you're a non-Mercury customer. And if you're in there, it's got this amazing new bit of functionality. Really simple, it's called metrics. So within metrics, you can create your own scorecard. So what do you want to score within your business? How do you want to measure that? You want this sort of tracking of when statuses change. So I've just put in some demo examples here. New job, this is new from Microsoft. New jobs as a roll-up of my UK, my APAC jobs, whatever, submissions going through, meetings. I want to create a new metric. When you create a new metric within here, you can link it live to a data source. So new metric, and I want this to be interviews. But instead of saying, I want it to go from this to this, I want to connect it to data. Any report that you've built in Power BI from any of your non-Mercury data, or Mercury data, better still, choose the report you want to base it on. Apply any filtering that you want to the, wait for this to open, next, sorry. So this is Mercury Analytics. I'm going to choose a particular thing. New, what does that say? New clients, that'll do. But before I do it, I'm going to break that down. I'm specifically interested in our UK business. I'm specifically interested in the Birmingham office. And then of that metric or where it stands right now today on a filtered metric, connect to that data source. And then set your metrics, tell me when it changes. What Microsoft have then started to do is they've hooked it all back into Teams. So you've set up your dashboard, which you can go to and you can have a look, but who wants to keep going to a dashboard to have a look? You want automation to tell you when it changes. So when you come back here to activity, so all of this great AI, all of this great automations, but it's got to feed back somewhere. Activity. Ooh, I'm in the wrong one. Here we go. So as soon as any of the state changes, change on anything, straight back into Teams, gives you a dashboard, tells you where you're at. So all of your CRM capability, all your integrated partners, all coming back into one data source. Automation to trigger on any condition of any event. When it's a Tuesday and the sky is blue and we do a big deal, put it on Teams, when they interact with it, send a survey, when it comes back, tell someone in the business, whatever it might be, all these connected applications, bring the data back into the system and then you can analyze it and then you can report on it. So hopefully I didn't show too much of the product. I stayed away from the Mercury product. Everything I've just shown you, all the automation and AI, yes, it natively hangs off Mercury, but it's Power BI, Power Automate, which you've all got available to you in Microsoft 365. Connected to ChatGPT, which you can all do. Feeding into Power BI, which you can all do, so whether you're a Mercury customer or not. But this is absolutely where it's going. Fully automated processes, infused AI to make people more effective, and then the analytics to support it. That was it.
Can I just say that stuff? It blows my mind because I absolutely love it, and I 100% agree with you. That's the way that the world's going. You were dancing around that, and I got lost. This would all be functionised with buttons, I'm guessing, on Mercury, so you just click into it to make it work.
Most of it, you don't click a button; it's just triggered. So, like that example,
we need to go and find it somewhere. So, where does it hack? So, it sits within. It will sit within Mercury.
So, my example earlier was I made a voice recording, although it didn't come through. Made a voice recording. It does everything for me, and it gives me an in-app notification to say do this next, and it takes me to the record. I pull that job and I convert it to that Dynamics developer, and it writes me a job spec, interview questions, explains the skills, and then I go and do a search. I won't automate the search just yet. Let's go and do the search. I add a candidate to the shortlist and it writes me a bio and it creates me a automatically branded profile. So they're the sorts of things that the only thing I'm doing is saying I've won the job, I've found a candidate, and it automates the rest.
This area of this level of sophistication, back at S3, we had to have business analysts to make Apollo work, to give us some of this stuff, but they had to work quite hard behind the scenes to draft scripts, to produce all this stuff. Is there a reason that why, if you're talking sort of 30 plus is your sweet spot in terms of numbers?
Yep.
Would you expect the business to have someone who's going to be a champion of this as a business analyst to actually make sure it's...
Not a BA, not a BA, but I do actually firmly believe, I mean, if we look at the tech that's available, and if we think about shadow IT where everyone's just running off and buying every app that they can get their hands on, I think people are going to end up having product owners in their business because the tech will be able to do a lot more. So if you've got someone that understands how you have to enable it and what you need to do, but from our perspective, and to Donna's point as well, you should expect a significant amount of this to be automation as standard. It's pre-packed. You choose which ones you want, on, off, on, off, on, off. You shouldn't have to go build. The days of really building should be over, really.
It's just about user engagement, making sure people are using it right ways, people doing comparisons, have some performance leads using X functions.
Yeah, what's the biggest challenge you're trying to solve? What's the business value that gets from it? Yeah.
This is a vehicle to get...
Yeah, well, the business that you talk about, I know quite fondly at the moment, but that's exactly the problem they're trying to solve. How do we get more deals per head? How do we get people more billable within the first 8 weeks rather than 2 years?
You should join the RDLC.
Yeah, might struggle with that one. And is there still an RDLC deal? Because I've literally just been out of the equation at the moment, so
Yes.
we're going to get around the table and get pencils out again. Perfect. Cool.
I've got a question. Just on the future. That's not necessarily Mercury, but so ChatGPT, voice notes, learning, refining, reductionism in terms of tasks, that's what everyone's trying to do. Where does it get to a point where it's just one homogenous mix? Because there's a point where it's the perfect job spec, the same questions for interview, same process, because everybody's refining it to a point where you can't refine it anymore. You're down to that nucleus of what makes recruitment. What happens then?
You go all the way back to where we were in the 90s, where it go back to relationships, which is where it needs to go back to. Because all we're going to end up doing ultimately, when the machine can do so much, is we need to feed it. And so you'll be pulling. And if you think about the jobs that you don't want today, they're probably going to be the jobs you want tomorrow. And what do I mean by that? So MSPs, who loves dealing with MSPs? No one. However, why not pull all the MSP jobs for all that you don't want into the system? automate the matching of all and the outreach of all of it. And then basically the machine tries as much as possible. And in the MSP world, it's normally the first CV over gets the first interview. It's less about value. How can you go and grab all that 10% margin and have a machine doing the work? And then coming back to the refinement and the value and how we can have, you know, a better conversation, AI can tell the person where they need to be told what to say, but you just need people on the phone more then. You need the storytellers, the people that can empathise, all the stuff that machine can't do. That's where...
You are Sarah Connor.
Don't know how to take that.
The whole generation is really has no idea what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.